Ward 6 council member Charles Allen said the bill he's introduced would crack down on big-ticket resellers, imposing fines of $5,000 per offense for driving up concert ticket prices.
Concert goers, pure and simple, are getting price gouged.
Audrey Fick-Schaefer, the head of communications for IMP, which operates multiple music venues, said resellers are making live music events unaffordable.
If people get gouged unnecessarily buying a $500 ticket that they could have paid $50 for, theoretically, that's 9 shows that they're not going to. Councilman Allen said he already had 8 co-sponsors on the bill. He hopes to get a public hearing and a vote by this fall. Dan Ronan, WTOP News.
In a statement this week to WTOP, ticket reselling site StubHub says, quote, this proposal will only push fans away from safe, regulated platforms, end quote. Good morning. Welcome in for the Wednesday morning ride in the midnight hour. Time now on WTOP 1208.
Get a precision AC tune-up for only $59.
Michael and Son.
Traffic and weather on the 8s, and a good Wednesday morning to Robert Workman in the WTOP Traffic Center with us.
Good morning, Dean. Outer loop of the Beltway looks good from I-95 in College Park, headed through Silver Spring, but up ahead, couple of work zones to watch out for. South of River Road, 2 left lanes are blocked on the way down towards the Clara Barton Parkway. And then at the other end of the American Legion Bridge, once you cross over into Virginia, they're working along the right side of the roadway. Stay to the left to continue down towards Tyson's Corner. If you're taking the exit off the outer loop of the Beltway to the George Washington Parkway, no worries. But that part of that service roadway that goes down to 193, the Georgetown Pike, is blocked off for construction. So you'll have to continue down into Tyson's and reverse and then access 193 off of the inner loop. I suppose you could also go down the GW Parkway to 123. There are ways, okay, but it's not going to be direct. On the inner loop of the Beltway, they're doing work in the right lane north of the Dulles Toll Road for a short stretch and then working along the left side after the Legion Bridge as you go up the hill towards River Road. South on 270, everything looks good. Coming down through Gaithersburg and Rockville towards the lane divide. They're milling and paving on 355 between the Beltway and Tuckerman Lane. 1 lane of traffic gets by each way. Northbound, stay to the left. Southbound, stay to the right. The WTOP Traffic Center brought to you by Fitzgerald Auto. It's a boy. It's a girl. It's a Kia. Fitzgerald Auto Mall welcomes a new brand to the family with Kia of Annapolis. Discover transparency you can trust with your new Kia at fitzmall.com. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
Here we are, the early part of April in your First Alert weather team. We're tracking cold. The freeze alert continues until 9 a.m. this Wednesday morning, with temperatures down around 28 to 35 degrees. Expect sunshine today with temperatures topping out in the mid-50s. I'm 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
36 degrees outside the glass enclosed nerve center, where the time now on WTOP is 12:10. On WTOP, we bring you money news at 10 and 40 past.
A Tuesday morning rally lasted through midday and then faded by the close. The Dow was down another 320 points. The NASDAQ finished the session down 335 points. That's another 2% loss for the NASDAQ. Mortgage rates have shot higher after a brief drop on treasuries last week. The average rate on a 30-year fix has jumped a quarter point this week, approaching 7% again. Warren Buffett's the only billionaire who's making money right now. $12 billion in new wealth this year, bumping him to the 4th richest. Jeff Claiborne, WTOP News.
Asian stocks remain mixed this midnight hour, mainly lower. The Shanghai, the exception, up almost 8 points. This check, the Hang Seng is down by 329. The Nikkei is off by 1,245 points. Good morning, welcome in. 12:11 the time now on WTOP.
Fantastic flip. This is Dave Johnson. Yeah, my friend Jennifer Young of Jennifer Young Homes can handle it. Listen to this story. A distressed property purchased by some investors. They wanted a quick sale. That saved a Jennifer Young Homes client from foreclosure. This house was under contract in only 3 days and closed at $10,000 above the list price. Jennifer guarantees to sell your home at price and deadline you agreed to, or she'll buy it. Now's the time to connect with Jennifer Young. 877-611-SELL or JenniferYoungHomes.com.
Keller Williams Realty, 703-815-5700.
Laugh together, carpool together. Everything's better when you share the ride together. Even if you're commuting just a few days a week, Commuter Connections can match you into carpools with others who live and work near you. It's a free service for commuters. Save time and money when you share the ride. Get your carpool together. Register today for free at commuterconnections.org or call 800-745-RIDE. That's commuterconnections.org.
In today's digital world, adversaries never rest.
To stay ahead of them, government agencies need an adversary-focused approach to cybersecurity. CrowdStrike's Falcon platform is built to stop breaches, empowering government agencies with real-time threat intelligence that stops adversaries before they stop you. With the latest adversary-based threat hunting technology, CrowdStrike Falcon on GovCloud helps detect, disrupt, and defeat cyber threats all in one platform. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches.
Good morning, Wednesday morning, April 9th. Welcome in for the ride. 12:13 the time on WTOP. Glad you're with us.
You're with Dean Lane on WTOP.
At Cabinet Discounters, we truly love what we do. Transforming kitchens, bathrooms, basements, any room. Creating new ways to help you achieve your vision, and all within your budget. Visit one of our 8 showrooms. Sit down with an experienced designer and build the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Call or go online today and schedule a free consultation at CabinetDiscounters.com.
It's Cabinet Discounters, proud to serve you for over 40 years.
Cabinet Discounters. Great quality, great price.
On WTOP, our latest check of traffic and weather in the midnight hour, brought to you this time around by Long Fence. Save 25% on Long Fence decks, pavers, and fences. 6 months, no payment, no interest financing. Terms and conditions do apply. Check them out. Go to longfence.com.
We've made big changes to the WTOP app, and it's nothing short of app-tastic.
You'll find the information you want more quickly and easily with an interface that's more appealing.
Local news, traffic, weather, and much more. Delivered in ways you'll appreciate.
Get it through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or download it wherever you get your apps.
You'll be happy you did.
Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Visit NavyFederal.org. Insured by NCUA.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Glad you're with us. 12:14 the time on WTOP.
You're listening to WTOP.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
This week, the Supreme Court hit pause on an order from a federal judge in California out west that required thousands of fired probationary federal workers be rehired. The move impacts one of 2 orders, actually, from federal judges made in response to layoffs seen earlier this year. This morning, Zach Schoenfeld, courts and legal reporter for The Hill, with more.
At this stage of the case, this is really still in the preliminary stage. So this case had been racing all the way up to the Supreme Court just in a matter of days. And the Supreme Court now sending a signal that the government unions who had been suing in this case, in this lawsuit out of San Francisco, the Supreme Court today saying that they do not have legal standing, meaning that they do not have the right to actually bring this case in the first place. This is not a decision that actually gets into the merits of whether these firings by the Trump administration were lawful, but it simply is based on who is suing in this case. So it is a setback today for these unions here today, but it really is still in the early stages of all these cases.
And what are we learning about how this impacts those federal workers who were part of these probationary worker cuts?
At this point in time, it really depends on where you work. And that is because there were 2 different court injunctions and 2 separate lawsuits that have blocked some of these firings. And the case at the Supreme Court, as you mentioned just a moment ago, is only one of the 2 cases. So there still is, in the other case, an injunction in effect. So for some probationary employees who have been reinstated, they're still protected and they're not going to be refired. But it does depend on where you go to work, because that injunction, the one that is remaining in effect, that's a case that's being brought by Democratic state attorneys general. So it depends if you go to work in a state that has one of those attorneys general. So in the DMV, in Washington, D.C., in Maryland, where Democrats hold the attorney general's offices, the firings are blocked there. But for folks who work in Virginia, where there's a Republican attorney general who's not part of the suit, some of those employees could now be refired.
And as we see these cases move through into the highest court, does the action today give us any indication on how the high court may decide on these cases down the road?
I think in this other case that's being brought by a number of states, today's ruling really doesn't impact that, because today's ruling was all about the fact that there were government unions behind this suit in San Francisco. So it's really a whole different question about whether these state attorneys general can bring this case. So it is still very possible, even though there's now been some whiplash over the last few weeks where employees have been fired and then rehired and now potentially refired again, there could continue to be whiplash and could continue to be rulings in these cases down the road.
And I should ask about the California case. What are the unions saying about this? Is this a big setback for them?
They are acknowledging that this is a big setback. They said in a statement today that this ruling is, quote, deeply disappointing, but they have been vowing to continue on and to not give up this fight. In fact, the trial judge in San Francisco is going to hold the next hearing in this case tomorrow. So we'll be watching to see what he says, now getting the Supreme Court ruling as to whether there is any chance for that case to continue. I should also just note that although the main plaintiffs here are government unions, there are a few other groups in that suit suing as well. So there is still potentially a pathway, but certainly a big setback today, no doubt for them.
On WTOP, Zach Schoenfeld, courts and legal reporter for The Hill, in a conversation with our Mike Murillo. You are listening to 103.5 FM and WTOP.com.
It's the Hard Knock Life for us.
One of the most popular musicals of all time is back. See Annie, Broadway's favorite orphan, live on stage in an all-new production. Hailed by the Chicago Tribune as one of the best family musicals ever written. Annie is back to spread hope for all the hard knocks life throws your way. So clear away those sorrows and get your tickets to Annie today.
At the National Theater, April 11th through 20th only. Get tickets today at BroadwayAtTheNational.com.
Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks on WTOP.
Prince George's County, all is well south along I-95 from 198 in Laurel down towards the Beltway and around the outer loop over towards Silver Spring. Inner loop, likewise, in good shape as you head for New Carrollton and down past Route 50 towards Joint Base Andrews. Across the Beltway on Route 50 or the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, you're looking good into northeast. Not much to worry about onto New York Avenue and Kenilworth Avenue. You're doing some work on the outbound side of New York Avenue at the Anacostia River. Had you down to just one lane for the better part of the last couple of hours. The delays have eased a little bit coming out from South Dakota Avenue, but keep an eye out for the arrow boards. On the ride through Southeast, Pennsylvania Avenue, Suitland Parkway, South Capitol Street, I-295, all doing well to and from the Anacostia River bridges. No issues reported on 695, the Southeast-Southwest Freeway in either direction as you head along the waterfront and past those 3rd Street tunnel ramps. You're in good shape northbound in the tunnel up to New York Avenue and southbound coming back down towards 695. At the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, lanes are open both ways between Oxon Hill and Alexandria on the Beltway. No trouble spots along the 95 corridor out of Springfield on the way down towards Dale City and right on down into Stafford County. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
Coming up on WTOP this half hour.
Hundreds of kids at this local middle school are getting referrals, but not for the reason you might think. I'm Scott Gelman.
A freeze alert continues this early Wednesday morning until 9 a.m. Temperatures going all the way down to about 28 to 35 degrees before they'll start rising after 9 a.m. It's mainly clear out there right now. We're going to have some sunshine today. With that sunshine, temperatures will top out between 53 and 58 degrees. 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
35 outside the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center this midnight hour. Also coming up this half hour.
Safety changes coming to some teen social media. I'm Neil Augenstein.
Brought to you by Gutter Helmet by Letnor Home. Protection for your gutters, peace of mind for your home. It's a lifetime clog-free performance guarantee. Called 888-5-HELMET.
Over 5,000 IT and security risk leaders, including over 1,000 federal employees, will be on-site experiencing the latest cybersecurity research at Gartner's Security and Risk Management Summit. Will you be one of them? Enjoy 3 days of networking and strategizing while attending over 150 sessions covering your critical priorities. Join us June 9th through June 11th at the Gaylord National Convention Center in National Harbor. Special $725 discount for government and public sector employees. Register at Gartner.com/US/security risk.
You're with WTOP and Dean Lane.
Hi, I'm Brad Chandler, co-founder of Express Homebuyers. If selling your house has been on your mind, maybe it's outdated and needs lots of repairs, inherited, or just too much to manage, we can help. We'll give you a fast, no-pressure cash offer and buy your home exactly as it is. No agents, no fees, no repairs. You don't even have to clean. We've helped over 4,500 homeowners in the DMV sell quickly with zero stress, and we can do the same for you. We're local, trusted, and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. You choose the timeline. We can close in as little as 7 days or whenever works for you. So if you want convenience, speed, and a company that actually cares, go to expresshomebuyers.com. That's expresshomebuyers.com, where we buy your house in 7 days or less.
Express Home Buyers, we buy your house in 7 days.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Welcome in. Glad you're with us. 12:22 the time now on WTOP.
This is Washington's news, traffic, and weather station, WTOP.
WTOP News.
Columbia University student and Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil appeared in a Louisiana court this week as he continues to fight for his freedom. He's been in custody, you may remember, since March after he was arrested by ICE officers. The Trump administration wants him out of the country, accusing Khalil of misrepresenting information on his green card application and having ties to Hamas. ABC correspondent Armando Garcia with more.
Immigration Judge Jamie Comans has given lawyers representing DHS a little more than 24 hours to provide Khalil's legal team evidence that he is removable under the allegations levied against him in the notice to appear that he was issued when he was first detained. And this is about a month ago, actually. Today is the 1 month mark of him being in detention, first, of course, detained in front of his home in New York City.
School day. You know, these days, kindness can be hard to come by for a number of different reasons. But locally in Fairfax County, acts of kindness are getting top grades in one school system, as we hear from WTOP's Scott Gelman.
There are dozens of referrals on blue paper hanging on the cafeteria windows here at Kilmer Middle School. Instead of describing a consequence, they're praising students for doing something good.
Nobody looks forward to writing a discipline referral. We all really enjoy and are inspired to write positive referrals.
That's Counselor Kristen Riegard. Any staff member can write one, and so far this year, they've given out about 1,700.
Maybe they're struggling a little bit academically, but they're making, really positive behavior choices, setting a great example for their peers.
The slip comes with a sweet treat, and they're issued during class. 8th grader Amanda Choate earned one for leading a group discussion.
I think it encourages us to come to school and excites us to come to school, knowing that our actions and kindness to others do actually mean something.
The idea is rewarding students for the difference they're making when they think nobody else is watching. In Vienna, Scott Gelman, WTOP News.
Let's talk tech on WTOP. Some big changes come to Instagram and Facebook. WTOP's Neil Augenstein tells us this morning the social media platform's parent company, Meta, is out with safety changes for its youngest users.
As of today, some kids with teen accounts will no longer be able to just start live streaming on Instagram.
If you're under the age of 16 and you want to go live on Instagram, you're going to need your parents' permission to be able to do that starting today as we roll out these new features.
Jennifer Hanley with Meta says teens under 16 also won't be able to turn off the nudity protection feature, which blurs suspected nude images in DM without a parent's permission. She says 97% of teens 13 to 15 are sticking with those default settings.
So most parents are not giving permission. They're leaving their younger teens in the default protections.
She says the teen accounts are also being extended to Facebook and Messenger. Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
You are listening to 103.5 FM and WTOP.com.
All right, we're ready on this end. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, team, forget everything you thought you knew about IT, because with Red River, we got ourselves a game changer here.
Red River reimagines the possibilities of technology, enabling organizations to transform beyond the expected. From AI and cybersecurity to cloud, collaboration, and modern infrastructure, Red River delivers more than technology transformation. We deliver business and mission outcomes. Technology decisions aren't black and white. Think red. Learn more at redriver.com.
Sports at 25 and 55 brought to you by Amentum, advancing the future together for the intelligence community.
The Nationals clinched a home series victory over the Dodgers for the first time since 2014, thanks to an 8-2 win over the defending World Series champions in a battle between inexperienced pitchers. Rookie reliever Brad Lord goes from working at Home Depot in the offseason to winning his first major league start with 3 scoreless innings of work that started with a strikeout of Shohei Ohtani, skipper Dave Martinez.
The biggest thing was that when he's throwing strikes, it's a good thing, and he didn't shy away from the strike zone. I know he walked a guy and couple guys early. Hickey won, made a great mound visit, had him back in the strike zone, which was awesome.
Lord had 4 of the 15 strikeouts thrown by 4 Nats relievers. James Wood did most of the scoring, matching a career high with 5 RBI and homered twice to total 3 for the series, which concludes in a 4:05 matinee with Jake Irvin in search of his first victory of the season. The Wizards led by as many as 16 in Indiana, but fell 104-98. But the silver lining was Alex Sarr. The rookie scored 16 of his team-high 20 20 points in the first quarter and notched his 10th double-double, Brian Keefe.
I just loved his aggressiveness from the get-go. Starting with his defense, he was switching out on pick and rolls tonight, guarding their guards, keeping them out in the paint. His attack mentality tonight was terrific.
Down a level, new Maryland coach Buzz Williams gets another quality transfer, reportedly getting Blake Harper coming off his standout freshman season at nearby Howard. Rob Whitworth, WTOP Sports.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
Coming up next half hour after traffic and weather.
What's happening to federal offices in D.C. and elsewhere?
This is a massive real estate.
I'm Mitchell Miller, today on The Hill.
Sometimes a little sweetness is all you need. Silver Diner is treating WTOP listeners to a complimentary shake when you spend $25 or more. Picture yourself sipping a classic vanilla shake, indulging in a campfire shake, or going dairy-free with a delicious alternative. It's our way of adding a little sunshine to your day. Visit silverdiner.com/WTOP to download this offer. Hurry, this ends April 7th. And just like that, your day is a little brighter. Silver Diner, the next generation diner.
Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks on WTOP.
Lanes are open on the outer loop of the Beltway as you leave New Carrollton and College Park and head around towards Silver Spring, coming down I-95 or the Baltimore-Washington Parkway from 198 in Laurel. Everything looks good heading down towards 495. Likewise along 270 out of Germantown and Gaithersburg on the way down towards the lane divide. 355 between the Beltway and Tuckerman Lane. They're doing milling and paving in both directions. You get by single file each way. Northbound, you use the left lane. Southbound, stay over to the right as you head down towards Pooks Hill Road. On the outer loop of the Beltway, there's a work zone south of River Road. 2 left lanes are tied up, and then a separate work zone after the American Legion Bridge along the right side. That also extends into the service roadway that takes you to the GW Parkway and the Georgetown Pike. No problems getting onto the southbound GW Parkway, but the ramp 213 is closed for the moment. On the inner loop of the Beltway, they're doing work as you head north of the Dulles Toll Road, taking away your right lane, and then a separate work zone after the American Legion Bridge. This one's along the left side. Eastbound on I-66, all is well through Manassas and Centerville, coming in towards the Beltway. Up ahead, there's road work before you get into the Roslyn Tunnel. Stay over to the left to get through there. Westbound, your lanes are open. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
Clear and quite cold. Temperatures running much below average. Average is considered 46 degrees for early morning. Now we're down around 28 to 35 degrees this morning, feeling more like late winter. Temperatures will climb to about 53 to 58 degrees later today, but we do have those freeze warnings up until 9 a.m. Sunshine for you today, some clouds for Thursday and Friday as we track the next weather maker. Scattered showers for Thursday and a soggy one on Friday. 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
35 DuPont Circle, 32 midnight hour on your Wednesday morning in Germantown, 36 Annandale, 36 outside the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center. Brought to you this time around by Top Nova Orthodontics. Avoid tooth extractions or surgery for your orthodontic treatment. Visit Dr. Abbasi at Top Nova Orthodontics. Check him out. WTOP at 1230.
The local real estate market is evolving rapidly, presenting new challenges for businesses and individuals. Navigating these changing market conditions requires trusted legal guidance. Here's Matt Alleggi, chair of the real estate department at Shulman Rogers, one of the region's most respected law firms.
At Shulman Rogers, our team of over 100 experienced attorneys is dedicated to helping you tackle legal challenges, real estate and beyond. Whether you're a business owner dealing with lease issues, a commercial lender evaluating collateral, or a home buyer looking for a smooth closing process, we've got you covered. We're also helping local real estate professionals adjust to the post-NAR class action settlement landscape. Our focus is always on delivering client-driven solutions that prioritize your success.
Discover how Shulman Rogers can help with all your legal needs. Visit ShulmanRogers.com today. That's ShulmanRogers.com. Trusted legal solutions tailored for you.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
The WTOP producer's desk is wired by IBEW Local 26, where electrical contractors come to grow.
Good Wednesday morning, midweek, April 9th. Thanks for taking the midnight hour ride with us. Glad you're in. I'm Dean Lane. Juan Herrera is our producer. Among the top stories we're following on WTOP this half hour. We begin here at home, developing out of Spotsylvania County in the last several hours. 3 people are reported dead, 3 others injured after a shooting on Tuesday evening. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 5:30 in the evening in the area of Old Greenwich Circle. Officials are asking people this morning to avoid the area as they still are searching for suspects.
We have nearly all of our detectives out right now looking for the suspects, and we will stay looking for these suspects. We have multiple other agencies assisting with us. The city of Fredericksburg, the police department is also assisting, as well as Virginia State Police. We will stay out here until the suspects are caught.
That is Major Elizabeth Scott, spokesperson for the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office. Now, we do understand, and this has just developed in the last hour and a half or so, the Fredericksburg City Public Schools have formally announced that schools will open 2 hours later today in the wake of this shooting. We'll keep you updated as they search for the suspects. Here on WTOP this overnight early morning, just keep your dial right where it is. 103.5 FM, WTOP.com, always free on the WTOP app. WTOP at 12:33.
CBS News special report. New country-specific tariffs have gone into effect for dozens of U.S. trading partners, including a 104% tariff on China. President Trump says the pressure is causing trading partners to negotiate.
They're giving us everything. They don't want tariffs on themselves.
Colin Slayback is a professor at NYU's School of Professional Studies.
It's very unsustainable. We have a real estate guy as president, and he's used to escalating a deal. This seems to be more of like a game of chicken than international relations.
CBS Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is monitoring effects.
It's everything from tech to clothing to industrial minerals. You can sort of look around wherever you are, and you're likely going to see a lot of products that are made not in the U.S.
Asian stock markets are mostly showing big losses, as are U.S. stock futures. CBS News special report. I'm Michael Toscano.
WTOP at 12:34. The Supreme Court on Tuesday hit pause on an order from a federal judge in California out west that required thousands of fired probationary federal workers be rehired. Now, this move impacts one of 2 orders from federal judges made in response to layoffs seen earlier this year. So what's behind this action by the nation's highest court? Zach Schoenfeld, courts and legal reporter for The Hill, explains.
At this stage of the case, this is really still in the preliminary stage. So this case had been racing all the way up to the Supreme Court just in a matter of days. And the Supreme Court now sending a signal that the government unions who had been suing in this case, in this lawsuit out of San Francisco, the Supreme Court saying that they do not have legal standing, meaning that they do not have the right to actually bring this case in the first place.
Now, Schoenfeld says this morning that while this is a setback for the government unions suing, it is still in the preliminary stages and not the final word. Stay tuned. WTOP at 12:35. Federal judge has ruled the White House cannot cut off the AP, Associated Press's access to the Oval Office, Air Force One, and more because the news organizations continue to use the name Gulf of Mexico after Trump, you may remember, ordered renaming it the Gulf of America. Judge Trevor McFadden in this case, based in Washington, D.C., appointed by Trump during his first term, says he'll grant a preliminary injunction sought by the AP, though he gave the administration time to appeal. He says the Constitution prohibits the White House from shutting its doors to journalists because of their viewpoints. CBS News Department of Justice correspondent Jacob Rosen has more for us this morning.
Mr. Trump declared soon after returning to his second term that the Gulf of Mexico would be changed to the Gulf of America. In the wake of that decision, the Associated Press declined to update its influential style book, used in many newsrooms worldwide, to reflect that name change. The AP said Trump's order only carries authority within the United States, and because the Associated Press is used by international news outlets, it must, quote, ensure that places, names, and geography are easily recognizable to all audiences.
Now, the AP, which Mr. Trump has called radical left lunatic, says the ruling affirms the fundamental right of the press and public to speak freely without government retaliation. The chair of a House DOJ panel says the Trump administration is already saving taxpayers big money by starting to sell off federal buildings and ending hundreds of leases, and that's expected to have a big impact on federal real estate here in the Washington area. WTOP Capitol Hill correspondent Mitchell Miller today on the Hill Wednesday morning.
Federal agencies shouldn't be maintaining empires at taxpayer expense.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's led the hearing on federal real estate. She says the cancellation of more than 700 leases, including one for Voice of America in D.C., has saved taxpayers close to $400 million. David Maroney with the GAO says the reforms are long overdue, but also cautions against GSA moving too fast in a challenging real estate market.
It's important that they balance the goal of speedy reductions with the need for deliberate planning.
D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton worries that efforts to move federal facilities out of D.C.
would harm the operations of these agencies and waste taxpayer dollars.
On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
The push for modernization begins with a 5-layer maturity model for digital transformation. Jameson Braun, the Vice President of Global Public Sector at Salesforce, discussed how this maturity model could allow the Defense Department to move faster.
Imagine if we had a way to communicate, collaborate, and document, so in that flow of work, that could go right to every single person at the decision maker level. And everybody had 3 critical variables: trust, transparency, and accountability.
Listen to the full interview on federalnewsnetwork.com. Introducing Agent Force, the AI-powered digital labor platform for government. With Agent Force, agencies can streamline operations, make faster data-driven decisions, and use proactive AI agents to multiply impact, all in a secure cloud environment. Empower your teams with the tools they need to build connections and serve America more efficiently. Agent Force, transforming federal service for a smarter, safer future. Learn more at salesforce.com/government. That's salesforce.com/government.
You're with Dean Lane on WTOP. This just in from Bethesda.
This just in from Fairfax County.
Get This Just In delivered to your inbox or your phone. Go to WTOP.com, search newsletter, and sign up for the alerts you want. Breaking local news, traffic, weather. From Washington's top news, WTOP.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Thanks for taking the Midnight Hour ride with us. It's 12:38. Over to Robert Workman first in the WTOP Traffic Center this morning.
On the Beltway in Prince George's County, inner loop before you get to Ritchie Marlborough Road, police activity tying up the left half of the roadway. Stay over to the center end to the right as you come down from Central Avenue. Starting to see a little bit of congestion through there on the way down towards Joint Base Andrews. Once you're past all those flashing lights, you should be fine as you head for Branch Avenue and over towards the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. Outer loop runs without issue up past Central Avenue and Route 50 and around towards Greenbelt and College Park. We're in good shape towards Northeast on 50 and the Baltimore-Washington Parkway coming in from the Beltway onto New York Avenue and Kenilworth Avenue, outbound New York Avenue. We're doing some road work at the Anacostia River down to just one lane open through there. On the right across the waterfront, 695 looks okay in both directions. Might be a new problem, though, northbound on 395 at the 14th Street Bridge. We'll check in with Virginia State Police on that. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
A very cold start here for April 9th. Typically, our temperatures would be somewhere in the low to mid 40s, but this morning we're running between 28 and 35 degrees. Freeze warnings are up, some frosty conditions out there. Temperatures later will climb to about 53 to 58 degrees with sunshine. Temperatures quite similar for Thursday and Friday, but with clouds and rain showers by midday Thursday and a soggy Friday, the way it's looking now. 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
We're at 35 DuPont Circle, 32 Germantown, 36 Annandale, 36 this midnight hour Wednesday morning outside the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center. Brought to you this time around on WTOP by PJ Fitzpatrick, the Home Improvement Weather Desk. For your home's windows, siding, doors, and bath, trust PJ.com. WTOP at 1240. On WTOP, we bring you money news at 10 and 40 past the hour.
A Tuesday morning rally faded after lunchtime. By the close, the Dow is down another 320 points. The NASDAQ finished the day down 335 points. That was another 2% loss for the NASDAQ. Small business confidence fell for the third straight month, with the share expecting better business conditions in the next 6 months, down the most in 4 years. Phones will get more expensive. The price of Apple's iPhone could go up as much as 30% on tariffs. Betted at $350 to the price of the most expensive iPhone 16. Jeff Claiborne, WTOP News.
And overseas, Asian stocks are lower across the board this check. Good morning. Welcome in. 1241. The time now on WTOP.
Spring is here, and there's no better time to give your home's exterior a total refresh. CertaPro Painters is who you're going to call for your home or business. This is Dave Dildine, and CertaPro Painters went the extra mile at my place, even touching up the iron railings and wood porch. The siding, it went from winter gray to a vibrant barn red. No hassle, no headaches, no worries, unlike traffic. Don't delay. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Glad you're with us. Time now is 1242 on WTOP.
Washington's top news, WTOP.
Facts matter.
Acting Internal Revenue Service Commissioner Melody Krause, we understand this morning, is leaving the agency amid internal chaos and the exodus of several senior IRS officials of late. Krause has decided apparently to accept the agency's deferred resignation offer. Two people familiar with the decision this morning say Krause is resigning over the IRS and Department of Homeland Security deal to provide sensitive taxpayer data to federal immigration authorities in an effort to locate and deport undocumented immigrants. The Pentagon confirmed it has fired Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield, the U.S. military representative to NATO's military committee. CBS News correspondent Charlie Daggett.
The official line from Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell is that she was dismissed due to a loss of confidence in her ability to lead, which is sort of Pentagon speak for just because. She was the top U.S. official on NATO's military committee. She had been singled out, put on a sort of woke list that has been put together by a conservative group because of comments she's made in the past promoting diversity.
Chatfield had been among a group of federal employees targeted by the right-wing American Accountability Foundation for promoting diversity. Her firing comes this week amid a broader effort by the Trump administration to censor discussion of systemic racial and gender discrimination in the U.S. Now we turn to the war in Ukraine, and the latest for you Wednesday morning. There are more than 10,000 North Koreans fighting with Russian troops against Ukraine. However, on Tuesday, Ukraine's president announced they are not the only foreign nationals, apparently, from the Far East fighting for Russia. Chinese troops are also fighting with the Russians as well, we understand. This discovery could be a major setback for efforts to end the war, as we hear from WTOP national security correspondent J.J. Green Wednesday morning.
Commander. What you hear is audio of a Chinese national captured in Donetsk by Ukrainian forces. He was speaking to them in Mandarin, but occasionally used the English word commander. The video was posted by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and in doing so, he said in his post on Telegram, they captured 2 Chinese nationals. But he has information indicating there are, quote, significantly more. The discovery raises a much bigger issue. Are China and Russia, 2 of the world's most powerful militaries, joining forces to attack a sovereign country? That could be a big problem for efforts to achieve a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky says this is a clear sign that Putin is going to, quote, do anything except end the war.
You are listening to 103.5 FM at WTOP.com.
In the face of evolving threats, Sealing Tech empowers DoD cyber protection teams to stay ahead. Our cyber hunt kits are modular and tailored to your mission needs to detect and defend in real time. They're packed with super-powered capabilities to help protect against predatory cyber attacks. Level up your defenses with the leader in cyber hunt kits at sealingtech.com/mission success. That's SEALING tech.com/mission success.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome in for the Midnight Hour ride this April 9th. Glad you're with us. 1245 on WTOP is the time.
This is WTOP News.
Facts matter.
Tuesday was yet another day of extreme swings on the stock market as President Trump's tariffs continue to sow economic uncertainty. Stocks started the day higher on Tuesday, but the market rally evaporated eventually, with the Dow ending the day down 0.8%. The S&P fell 1.6%, and the Nasdaq dropped 2.2%. Still, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sounded an optimistic note this week on news that other nations are calling to negotiate those tariffs. The president says this week apparently more than 70 countries want to make a deal right now, and the difficult part will be finding the time to do so. This morning, Olivia Rubin, ABC News investigative reporter, with her take.
We've been hearing these numbers from a number of administration officials just grow and grow and grow. They've said 50, they've said 60, they've said 70. But the real question is sort of what is the timeline going to be here for some of these deals? When Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent spoke to ABC's Mary Bruce this morning, he specifically talked about two countries. What he said was that Vietnam had been planning to come to the table so that the country could make a deal with them. He said Vietnamese officials were coming this week. He also talked about Japan, saying that they're eager to get it over the line and that they would soon be starting negotiations. The White House has also talked about Israel. Of course, we saw Netanyahu at the White House yesterday talking about breaking down those trade barriers. But for those countries that the White House is talking about, these forward making progress with, there of course are the other countries that are not in the same bucket, primarily China. China has announced retaliatory tariffs. The United States has doubled down and will be implementing a 104% tariff on China, saying it was a very big mistake for them to talk about retaliatory tariffs. So certainly there are sort of different phases across the spectrum here.
Do we have any idea whether President Trump's tariffs will be permanent?
You know, that is, I think, $1 million question, along with a number of other $1 million questions. You know, he said that there both can be true, that the tariffs are permanent and that the tariffs are here for negotiation. So I think, you know, it seems that the White House is going on a case-by-case basis, that there could be negotiations struck with some countries, not with others. But really, I think there's more questions than there are answers with these tariffs and what the purpose is. There's been a lot of shifting explanations and answers from the administration here.
That was Olivia Rubin on WTOP, ABC News investigative reporter, talking with Sean and Ann. You are listening to 103.5 FM and WTOP.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather on the 8s and when it breaks on WTOP.
Construction in both directions on the Beltway headed towards the American Legion Bridge on the inner loop as you leave Tyson's Corner. You'll see crews along the right side as you head north of the Dulles Toll Road up towards 193. And then just after the American Legion Bridge, they'll take away your left lane for a stretch up the hill towards River Road. On the outer loop of the Beltway, south of River Road, 2 left lanes are blocked in the work zone. You get those back before the American Legion Bridge, but there's a second work zone on the Virginia side. And that's along the right side near the exit for the George Washington Parkway. Extends into that service roadway as well. Doesn't look like you'll be able to access 193 off of the outer loop of the Beltway. You'll have to continue down to Tyson's Corner and reverse in order to access the Georgetown Pike. On the right in from the west along Route 7, the Dulles Toll Road or I-66 between 28 and the Beltway, everything looks good. No issues along I-95 coming up from Dale City over the Occoquan and up through Springfield. North on 395, incident free as far up as Duke Street and King Street. Looks like there might be something about halfway across the 14th Street Bridge, possibly along the left side. Trying to get some details on that right now. Use caution as you head north of the Pentagon on the way into Southwest D.C. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
And cold. Got some freezing temperatures out there and freeze warnings up until 9 a.m. Temperatures starting out this morning between 28 and 35 degrees. By afternoon to 3 o'clock, we're up to about 53 to 58 degrees. Another beautiful day. And the last time we're going to have nice sunshine until we get to probably Monday of next week. Temperatures for Thursday and Friday quite similar, but with rain by midday Thursday. 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
Cold this morning, 36 Alexandria in the midnight hour. Wednesday morning, midweek, April 9th. We're at 39 Penn Quarter, 33 Columbia, 36 outside the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center. And coming right up this half hour for you here on WTOP.
Save money and the environment with these tips during Food Waste Prevention Week. I'm Valerie Bonk.
Brought to you by Mervis Diamond Importers. 9 out of 10 brides recommend a Mervis Diamond. The 10th is still speechless. For yours, visit Mervis Diamond Importers.
The best diamonds in the world are waiting for you at Mervis Diamond Importers. For the largest diamond collection and the best value, visit Mervis. Nobody pays retail anymore. Why should you? MervisDiamond.com.
The Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority Police Department is hosting an exclusive recruitment event for entry-level and lateral police officers on Saturday, April 12th, starting at 8 a.m. at the Criminal Justice Police Academy in Ashburn, Virginia. This event is an opportunity to fast-track your career by completing multiple phases of the hiring process in just one day. Hired police officers can receive a $10,000 signing bonus. Visit MWAA Events for full event details. That's MWAA Events.
The right partner makes all the difference. Now, more than ever, trust is the foundation of any successful relationship. As the community bank of the nation's capital, United Bank focuses on growing personal relationships with our customers and communities. With local bankers you know and trust, businesses and individuals throughout Greater Washington continue to choose United Bank. To learn more, visit bankwithunited.com. United Bank. Member FDIC.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Glad you're with us. 12:52 the time on WTOP.
This is Washington's top news.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
There is outrage this week after multiple Idaho police officers apparently opened fire on a teenage boy with autism. That shooting is under investigation this morning. Family members here say they are not sure the teen is going to survive, but the police chief is defending his officers. ABC correspondent Trevor Ault with more.
Officials in Pocatello say a neighbor called 911 Saturday evening reporting what they described as a man who seemed drunk threatening two people with a knife. The family says the boy, Victor Perez, is 17 and has autism and physical disabilities. They hope police would de-escalate the situation. Instead, video shows officers approaching, telling the teen to drop the weapon. He moves toward them and they open fire from the other side of the fence seconds after arriving.
An American Airlines flight turned around and went back to New York overnight this week, Monday into Tuesday, hours into that trip. Apparently, after passengers say a man became irate aboard the plane. CBS New York correspondent Natalie Duddridge has more for us.
4 hours into American Airlines Flight 198, passengers were told the flight was going back to New York.
They were telling everybody that there were technical issues with the plane, which I think is even scarier.
The real reason became apparent when they noticed commotion in the back of the plane.
Apparently the whole thing started because of a meal choice that they didn't get, and they also wanted to sit in an exit row. And they had a baby with them, so they told them they couldn't.
Passengers say flight attendants enlisted help from other travelers to cordon the man in a back row. When the plane finally landed back at JFK at 3 a.m, authorities took the man into custody.
President Trump this week signing executive orders aimed at boosting the coal industry.
We've heard the phrase, clean, beautiful coal. And President Trump says it's time to unleash its massive potential.
Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible.
Trump's executive orders will allow some older coal-fired plants to continue to operate to keep up with the increased demand for power, despite concerns about pollution. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
A little taste of this, a little taste of that, a flavor here, a flavor there you never tried.
And did you know it is Food Waste Prevention Week? And you may be surprised to realize just how much food you could be wasting with your daily routine. This morning, WTOP's Valerie Bonk has more on things that you could be doing right now.
Yeah, it all starts at home with taking simple steps.
Jay Apperson, a spokesperson for the Maryland Department of the Environment, says it begins with shopping smart and planning meals.
Buy only what you need, and then when you get that food, you store it properly so it doesn't go to waste before you can even eat it. Keep it fresher longer.
Taking those leftovers and being creative with using them for your next meal helps too.
And all that's done, if you still have food, you can consider composting it, which is good for the environment, or you can donate it to local community organizations.
Food made up almost 20% of all waste disposed of in Maryland last year. Valerie Bonk, WTOP News.
Here's your Jill on Money question of the day.
Dorothy from Maryland asks, I recently heard you say that people shouldn't worry too much about their Social Security. I'm so stressed out about this because of what's going on with all the cutbacks to government programs. My husband and I rely on our Social Security to live, and we would be out on the street without it. Let's take a deep breath, Dorothy. Your anxiety is understandable, but I believe the people in your situation should not be losing sleep over this. Social Security recipients vote, and there would be a massive uproar if the government tried to make any changes to the current program.
Have a question? Go to JillOnMoney.com.
You are listening to 103.5 FM and WTOP.com.
Sports at 25 and 55. Powered by Maximus. Moving people and technology forward.
The Nationals and Wizards both got out to fast starts, but only the Nats went on to victory, emphatically beating the defending champion Dodgers 8-2 to extend their first win streak of the season to 4 games. James Wood was the catalyst, driving in 5 runs in his first 3 at-bats, including a pair of 2-run homers in his first game as the designated hitter, telling Masson.
Baseball is just a weird sport. There's ups and downs, so I just think you got to take them as you get them. I just think you're able to slow the game down, and I think when that happens, things just come a little bit easier.
So easy, Wood hit those 2 homers on the very first pitch he saw, Dave Martinez.
He just ready to hit right from the first pitch, which is awesome. The other thing, too, that it shouldn't go unnoticed is the way he plays the game, right? He hits a ground ball, a fairly routine ground ball. He beats it off for a hit. The kid plays the game the right way. I love it.
You also had to love Brad Lord pitching the first 3 innings of a bullpen Knights, who earned the win in his first major league start. Jake Irvin takes the 4:05 first pitch, aiming for the Nats' first series sweep of the year. Speaking of series sweeps, the Wizards dropped all 4 games to the Pacers this season after blowing an early 16-point lead in Indiana and losing a roller coaster 104-98 game. Short turnaround to the Wizards' last home game of the season, a 7 p.m. tip-off against the 76ers on Fan Appreciation Night. Rob Woodfork, WTOP Sports.
This is WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station. WTOP FM Washington, WWWT-FM Manassas, WTLP FM Braddock Heights, Frederick.
Somewhere in the night.
You're with Dean Lane on WTOP.
Good Wednesday morning, April 9th. Thanks for taking the ride with us. Time now is 12:58. To Robert Workman of the WTOP Traffic Center.
Had some police activity on the inner loop of the Beltway in Prince George's County between Central Avenue and Ritchie Marlborough Road, but that's been resolved. Those lanes are all open. Also looked like we had an issue on the inbound 14th Street Bridge, northbound on 395, but that's also out of the way now. Outer loop of the Beltway through Montgomery County, south of River Road. Construction takes away 2 left lanes. Then after the American Legion Bridge, separate work zone is along the right side of the roadway and also extends into the service roadway. Doesn't look like you'll be able to make the exit for a while off of the outer loop of the Beltway to go to the Georgetown Pike. You can still get to the southbound George Washington Parkway. On the inner loop of the Beltway, they're doing work in the right lane north of the Dulles Toll Road, and then in the left lane after the Legion Bridge up the hill on the way over towards River Road. The WTOP Traffic Center is presented by Window Nation. Today, buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Visit windownation.com. I'm Robert Workman, WTOP Traffic.
Here we are, the early part of April in your first alert weather team. We're tracking cold. The freeze alert continues until 9 a.m. this Wednesday morning, with temperatures down around 28 to 35 degrees. Expect sunshine today with temperatures topping out in the mid-50s. I'm 7 News Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson in the First Alert Weather Center.
Your airport check, 38 degrees right now at Reagan National this morning, 36 BWI Marshall, 32 Dulles, 36 outside the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center, where the time now on WTOP is 12:59.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
WTOP News. Facts matter.
Wednesday morning, midweek, April 9th. Welcome in. Glad you're with us. I'm Dean Lane. Coming up this 1 a.m. hour on WTOP, a local mass shooting in Spotsylvania County leaves 3 people dead, searching for the suspects this morning. Wall Street sees red as the trade war leads to another day of volatility Tuesday for the stock market. In the end, the Dow at the closing bell was down 320, NASDAQ down 335, S&P down 79. Asian stocks lower this morning as well. Also this morning,
reinstate workers! Federal workers who've been put on leave say their fight is not over. I'm Kate Ryan.
Good morning. Welcome in. 1 o'clock the time now on WTOP.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Toscano. A new round of stiff U.S. tariffs went into effect 1 hour ago. Reciprocal tariffs, punishment for other nations' tariffs on U.S. imports. President Trump is feeling good about how it's going.
We're taking in almost $2 billion a day in tariffs.
Noting market volatility, President Trump defended the tariffs.
Sometimes you have to mix it up a little bit.
And by doing so, the president says countries are clamoring to make deals.
Right now, Japan is flying here to make a deal. South Korea is flying here to make a deal, and others are flying here.
Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
China has been slammed with a massive 104% tariff. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady has more.
Notable ones would be India at 27%, Indonesia at 32%, Taiwan at 32% as well. And so essentially, it's a blanket. Any goods that are coming into this country from these countries will be charged that reciprocal tariff. And in some cases, that will be on top of other existing tariffs.
CBS's Matt Piper tells us our neighbor to the north is fighting back.
Canada says it will start imposing a 25% tariff on certain U.S. auto imports. Canada's finance minister says in a statement, Canada continues to respond forcefully to all unwarranted and unreasonable tariffs. Canadian officials say the tariffs will apply to about 10% of all vehicles shipped from the U.S.
Asian stock markets are mostly showing big losses this hour, led by Tokyo's Nikkei, down almost 5%. U.S. stock futures are also showing continuing losses. The nearly 2,700-mile Keystone Oil Pipeline is shut down because it ruptured in North Dakota. That stopped millions of gallons of crude oil from Canada from going to refineries in the U.S., potentially leading to higher gasoline prices. It wasn't clear what caused the rupture or how much oil leaked. CBS's Jennifer Kuiper tells us the IRS needs a new commissioner again.
CBS News has learned that IRS Acting Commissioner Melanie Krause is leaving the agency due to a disagreement over the Treasury Department's decision to share IRS taxpayer data with the Department of Homeland Security. That according to a source familiar with the situation and a statement from the Treasury Department. It was first reported by the Washington Post.
Freeze watches are in effect in Kentucky overnight, with residents already coping with days of deadly flooding.
We just watched some homeowners jump on a paddleboard to get out of their home. That's the reality that may very well be the case for the next few days for some across the bluegrass state. Governor Andy Beshear telling us this is the second worst flood in Kentucky's history.
Nicole Valdez, this is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is it, the start of a new presidency. The first 100 days set the tone for what's to come. Tune into WTOP for The First 100 Days, sponsored by the American Petroleum Institute, where you'll hear updates on the president's priorities and early actions. From bold new proposals to key legislation, economic updates, and high-stakes meetings. Get the insights you need to stay informed. The First 100 Days, presented by the American Petroleum Institute.
Working on a nightmare.
You're with WTOP and Dean Lane.
John is in a hot tub on his vacation. He earned 20,000 points by spending $2,000 with his Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card. To be clear, you don't have to vacation in a hot tub to redeem this offer. But John did, because the bubbles make him happy. Right now, you can earn 20,000 points when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. Offer ends January 1st, 2026. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. Visit NavyFederal.org for details.
WTOP at 104. Good Wednesday morning, midweek, April 9th, 2025. Thanks for taking the ride with us. We're under a freeze alert, clear, cold, low 28 to 35 by daybreak. We're at 36 in our nation's capital right now. And a good Wednesday morning. We thank you for taking us along for your early morning ride. I'm Dean Lane. Developing out of Spotsylvania County, locally is where we begin the ride this morning. 3 people are reported dead, 3 others injured after being shot in the area of Old Greenwich Circle.
We received a call, multiple calls at 5:30 p.m. from the area of Old Greenwich Circle, which is in Spotsylvania County, in reference to multiple shots that were fired. Upon deputies' arrival, they found multiple gunshot victims. 3 of the victims were confirmed deceased.
Now, that was Major Elizabeth Scott on WTOP, spokesperson for the Spotsylvania Sheriff's Office. 3 others were also injured, we understand, taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Their conditions are unknown at this time. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office says no arrests have been made so far. They're hunting for the suspects this overnight early morning. And we've heard from Fredericksburg City Public Schools announcing formally that schools will open 2 hours late later today, this Wednesday, in the wake of that shooting. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Time now on WTOP Wednesday morning, 105. Their lives are on hold for now, but federal workers who've been put on leave are told their jobs have been eliminated. Rallied out in front of the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, with a clear message this week, Tuesday, for the Trump administration. WTOP's Kate Ryan was there.
Reinstate! Reinstate! Kenny Roberson with the American Federation of Government Employees pumped up a crowd of dozens of federal workers and supporters outside the Office of Personnel Management. referring to the Trump administration's call to terminate government activities related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. He said,
"We at AFGE call on this administration to stop demonizing the federal workforce, stop lying about DEI, and reinstate the workers who swore an oath to protect and serve this nation."
Quay Crowner, who was put on administrative leave from the U.S. Department of Education, explains she was encouraged by her employers to get involved in DEI work. She compared it to making soup.
If you're going to make a soup, you can't have carrots without potatoes, without broth, without onions, without, that sort of thing.
The American Civil Liberties Union of the District of Columbia, Democracy Forward, and a group of law firms has filed a complaint with the Merit System Protection Board on behalf of government workers like Crowner. In the district, Kate Ryan, WTOP News.
106 on WTOP. Legislation introduced this week in the D.C. Council to significantly crack down against ticket resellers and other middlemen. WTOP's Dan Ronan reports on this Wednesday morning. Councilmember Charles Allen said that he has the support on this issue of the majority of area music venues and the council.
Councilmember Allen's legislation is similar to one signed into law last year in Maryland. Allen said ticket brokers recently resold tickets that had a face value of $55 for nearly $1,100.